Hi everyone, welcome back. Welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to explain about website. Okay, what is a website? Website is a collection of web pages. Website is a set of web pages. Website is a collection of right? Website is a collection of web pages. Here, what is a web page? What is a web page? A single page is called a web page, which contains some information. Okay, a single page is called a web page, which contains some information. Web page contains text, images, audios, videos, graphics, etc. Okay? Or in other words, web page is nothing but a page which is able to open with the help of web browser. A page which is able to open with the help of web browser is called a web page. Or what is web page? A page which is developed on HTML, hypertext markup language, is called a web page. Okay? Right. Here, these web pages are classified into two types. Web pages can be divided into two types. Website contains two types of web pages. Okay? Website contains static web pages and dynamic web pages. Okay? Right? Website contains static web pages and dynamic web pages. Right? First, static web pages. Here, a page where a user unable to directly interact with these web pages are called static web pages. Okay? A user unable to directly interact with these web pages. Next, dynamic web pages. These pages where a user can able to directly interact with these web pages. Okay, so clear? Here user unable to directly interact with these web pages. In case of dynamic web pages, a user can able to directly interact with these web pages. Okay. Next, static web pages completely developed on HTML, CSS. Okay. Static web pages developed on HTML and CSS. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, used to create web pages. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which is used to create the web pages or develop web pages. Okay. Next, CSS, Cascading Style Sheets. Okay. Static web pages developed on HTML and CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Next, dynamic web pages. Dynamic web pages developed on HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Okay, right. Next, static web pages are unchanged or constant, we can say. Okay. Next, in case of dynamic web pages, okay, so static web pages are unchanged or constant. What about dynamic web pages? Dynamic web pages are continuously updated. Okay, dynamic web pages are continuously updated or changed. Okay. Next, static web pages. Static web pages can be also called as read-only web pages. Okay, static web pages can be also called as read-only web pages. That means here user can read information but can't update. Okay, user can read information but cannot update them. In case of dynamic web pages, user can read information and update also. Okay, user can read and update information at the same time. Here example, Wikipedia website. Here example of dynamic web page, newspapers website. Okay, so clear? So in the next session we will discuss about difference between static web pages and dynamic web pages in detail. Okay, right. Next point, static web pages will be controlled by web browsers. Okay, static web pages will be controlled by web browser. Right. Okay. What is web browser? What is a web browser? Web browser is a software. So before going to discuss about web browser, here I will give some examples of website. www.worldwideweb.google.com. Okay, www.google.com. www.youtube.com. Okay, facebook.com, twitter.com, Amazon, okay, apnajobs.com. So likewise, there are several websites available nowadays. Okay, so all these are what? Google.com, YouTube.com, Facebook.com, next Snapdeal.com, Amazon, Twitter. So all these are examples of website. Okay, several websites are available nowadays, right? Crores of websites available. Next, coming to web browser. Web browser is a software. Web browser is a software used by clients. Okay, web browser is a software used by clients for what purpose? For accessing web applications. Okay, web browser is a software used by clients for accessing web applications. Okay, so in other words, in simple terms, web browser is a software which is used to view the websites or access the websites. Okay, so to view the websites, web browser is required. Okay, web browser must be required. So clear? So that is about web browser. So all the web browsers are designed to make a request and responses, to make request and get responses in the form of HTTP. Okay, all the web browsers, so I will give some examples of web browsers. So all the web browsers are designed to make request and responses in the form of what? HTTP. What is the full form of HTTP? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, right. Examples of web browsers. Google Chrome, okay, Mozilla Firefox, okay. So here Chrome is the name of the browser which was developed by Google company. Next, Apple Safari browser name developed by Apple company. Next, NeoPlanet, Netscape Navigator, etc. Okay, UC browser, Opera mini browser, Internet Explorer, okay, so here Internet Explorer was developed by Microsoft Corporation. Okay, now, so all these are what? All these are examples of web browser. Okay, Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Apple Safari, NeoPlanet, Netscape Navigator, UC browser, Opera mini browser, and some other web browsers also there. Okay, so all these are comes under web browser. So is it clear? What is web browser? It is a software. Web browser is a software used by clients for accessing web applications, or web browser is a software which is used to view the websites. Okay, actually here the entire thing, this entire thing is called as URL. Okay, so this entire thing is known as URL. What is the full form of URL? Uniform Resource Locator. Uniform Resource Locator. So, okay, website will be accessed in web browser. Okay, website will be accessed in web browser through URL or website address. So what is URL? Uniform Resource Locator. Nothing but website address. So this is the address. Okay, website address www.google.com. Okay, right. So that is about web browser. Next, dynamic web pages. Dynamic web pages can be developed by using server side technologies. Okay, so what are the server side technologies? ASP 3.0. Okay, ASP, active server pages. So this is classic ASP, old version. Okay, next ASP.NET. ASP.NET, PHP, personal homepage, JSP, Java server pages, servlets, okay. So dynamic web pages can be developed by using server side technologies. ASP, ASP.NET, PHP, JSP, servlets, CGI, Ajax. Okay, CGI, Ajax. All these are technologies. Okay, all these are server side technologies. Okay, so by using these technologies we can develop dynamic web pages. Okay, so personal homepage, PHP stands for Java server pages. Okay, so that is about dynamic web pages, and dynamic web pages will be managed or controlled by web server. So here try to understand the difference. Static web pages will be managed or controlled by web browser. Dynamic web pages will be controlled or managed by web server. Okay, so what is web server? Web server is also a software that is used to store and execute the websites. Okay, web server is a software or an application used to store the websites and execute the websites. Okay, so I will give some examples of web server. IIS. Okay, what is the full form of IIS? Internet Information Services. Okay, IIS, Internet Information Services. Next, Apache Tomcat. Apache Tomcat. Okay, so these are the examples of web server. For .NET websites, for .NET websites, IIS web server is used. For Java websites, Apache Tomcat web server is used. and another web server, web store. Okay, IIS, Apache Tomcat, web store, all these are examples of web server. Okay, so is it clear? Web server is a software or an application which is used to store and execute the websites. Web server contains one or more websites. Okay, so that's all now. So in this session I covered what is website, what is a web page, next types of web pages, difference between static web pages and dynamic web pages, and I covered what is web browser. Okay, what is web browser and web server. Okay, and I given some examples of web browser, I given examples of web server. Okay, so this is about website, web browser and web server. Okay, what is website? Website is a collection of web pages. What is web browser? Web browser is a software used to view the websites. Okay, so web browser, it is a software. Okay, next web server, it is also a software used to store the websites. Okay, it is an application or software used to store the websites and execute the websites. Okay, so website can be accessed, website will be accessed in web browser through URL or website address. Okay, so that is about website. Thank you for watching. In the next session we will discuss about URL in detail. Thank you.